The Fat Duck is one of the most unique restaurants in the world.
Two Lango, two scallop there. Okay, watches to go, please. Table 10, table 6.
Its groundbreaking dishes are conjured up with show-stopping magic, and guests should expect the unexpected.
Crayfish cream, quail jelly, and peach puree.
At the helm, proud holder of 3 Michelin stars, Heston Blumenthal.
Great.
Innovative food pioneer.
It just needs one bit of crunch to it.
Lover of the weird and the wonderful. And a man who doesn't take no for an answer.
That is the worst thing anybody can say to me.
After 20 years of hard graft, Heston is redefining his entire life's work and questioning everything.
It's a new stage in the duck's life. Just might be a little bit of a bumpy ride on the way.
In a bid to evolve the Fat Duck experience, he's moving the whole restaurant to Australia before reopening back in England. An unpredictable journey to pull the Fat Duck right out of its comfort zone.
The only stuff that can be fucked up is us.
Yeah.
With privileged access behind the scenes of this audacious move.
It did not look like we had that amount of things when we left Bray.
We'll understand what it takes to create a 3 Michelin-starred restaurant.
Service is more important than food. Which is a bit of a shock to a chef, but it is.
Witness the pressures of moving a world-famous kitchen to the other side of the globe.
I see a big list of things that need to be fixed quite desperately.
And step inside the mind of its creator as he journeys to transform his entire Fat Duck world.
It's the biggest amount of pressure of this whole thing. I just really hope it works.
In a small corner of southern England lies a very special restaurant called the Fat Duck. For 20 years, it's broken culinary boundaries and bewitched diners with its unique blend of food mastery and dining theatre. Today, the doors of this famous restaurant are shut and a new future awaits. Highly skilled chefs and waiting staff are now makeshift removal men.
Bamboo tray flat.
15.
Presenter.
6.
Milk jug.
12.
Sugar bowl.
12.
Cashmere scarf. 3. Reading glasses.
5.
The entire restaurant is being shipped to Australia. 106 saucepans, 84 side plates, 126 iPods, 300 champagne glasses, 1 11,000-pound vacuum oven. The list goes on.
Is it quite a big job?
So far, what we've already collected, there's about 2.5, 3 tonnes already gone. So it's probably going to be what they estimated, about 5,000 or 6,000 kilos.
They're taking everything but the kitchen sink. In its place, the golden plaque. By exposing the Fat Duck to a new country and audience, Heston hopes it'll be the catalyst he needs to bring it back inspired and renewed.
The whole point of moving the Fat Duck is so we can rebirth it. It's evolving, its evolution into where it should be. No one's ever done this before. There's been pop-up restaurants where chefs have taken over somebody else's kitchen, maybe 2 weeks, maybe a month. But no one's ever done 6 months.
The new Fat Duck is migrating to Melbourne, inside the vast Crown Casino complex. It's glitz, it's glamour, it's a million miles from a quaint British village. Heston's challenge is to recreate the intimate dining experience of Bray within a high-rolling world of casino chips and razzle-dazzle. A bespoke-built restaurant space is crucial or all bets are off.
Through those doors is the new restaurant. Last time I saw it, it was a building site. I mean, all the windows, the building, the framework was up, but it was a building site. It will still be pretty much a building site, I think. There you go.
The Australian Fat Duck is being built entirely from scratch. The space is 5 times bigger than Bray, the ceilings twice as high. It looks directly out over the Yarra River, and it's all got to be finished in 4 weeks' time.
It's a new stage in the duck's life, and it's gone for migration And that whole migration process is ambitious. I'm not quite sure what effect it's going to have. Some great stuff is going to come out of it. It just might be a little bit of a bumpy ride on the way.
Head chef Johnny and Heston's right-hand man Ash are also in town for a sneak preview.
So we've got induction hobs, auto chefs. These are sort of warming cupboards, so you can keep food warm when it's cooked for resting. Ovens. These are all handmade, completely bespoke.
These are about $250,000 each. But these, there is no suite in this country that's ever come in like this. We've got in here, we've got 2 planches, we've got some dipper wells for spoons. Chave have never produced anything like this. Really pushed them on design. There's nothing in this country like this. The only jeopardy is the bit that we're involved
Yeah, the only
with.
jeopardy, the only stuff that can be fucked up is us.
Yeah.
Building the restaurant in Melbourne is a massive investment. The total cost of the whole build is still growing, and you never know until the restaurant's been open and it's operated, but we're in the region of $19 million at the moment, which is a staggering amount of money, really.
Here you get a really good view of how big the kitchen's going to be, how much space we're going to have. I mean, to be perfectly honest, more space than we really need.
Do you have any idea how much this kitchen has cost?
Do I have any idea? I do, but it's numbers that don't really mean much to me. I mean, just look at that ceiling. You got the 3 suites there. I mean, you know, they came on a plane from France. So, I mean, I know how much it costs for me to come from England. If you're trying to, I don't weigh as much as that. So.
Are you on budget?
Thankfully, I don't know much about the budget. I just have to get the job done. It's true. Just keep me out of it. The answer is no. No, we're not on budget.
Heston may be an international star with a global reputation, but there's still a few locals to bring up to speed.
I'd never even heard of the restaurant until I started working here.
Never had snails before, so I'd be keen to try snails.
It's a little bit out of my class. And 4 and 20 pie on the menu.
I think it's my second job with this company, so what an awesome experience. I get to work on a restaurant that is massive. I'd like to eat at the Fat Duck so much that I'd be willing to camp out to potentially get a seat.
Australia has a keen appetite for the Fat Duck, and this will be the first time Heston has served his entire menu anywhere outside of Bray. This includes the multi-sensory fish course, Sound of the Sea.
My inspiration was chartered trips to the beach and the evocative sound of gently breaking waves and seagulls. I wanted to use this power of sound to take a dish to a new level and prompt a diner's own seaside memories. The edible sand is made from crushed ice cream cone, miso and tapioca. On top, finely sliced, lightly cured fish and some pickled seaweed. The lapping wave is created from a foam of shellfish, white wine broth and seaweed. To complete the experience, a seashell is served concealing an iPod. This plays the sounds of the sea, bringing the beach directly to the table.
Behind every great chef is an equally great team. And Heston's staff are joining him in Melbourne. 28 chefs, 6 sommeliers, and 10 waiters. Australia beckons. For the entire team, this move was a big surprise. Instead of a new year in England, they're about to spend 6 months on the other side of the world.
Actually didn't have Australia in my plans, not even close to my plans, definitely. I'm expecting a lot of work because it's definitely going to be tough, at least at the beginning while we set up everything.
We've got everybody! Woohoo! Right, let's go.
Are you counting them all on?
Oh God, no, I'm not counting them all. That's a real school tour thing, isn't it? Right. Well, go on then. Yes. Get out of here.
10,000 miles away, their new home awaits. And so does the task ahead.
I don't think any of us really understand and appreciate the vastness of this project.
And I think that whilst they're all excited about going today, when they get there, I think it'll probably hit them just how much work needs to be done.
A seat at the Melbourne Fat Duck will be the hottest ticket in town. More than 250,000 people have applied for just 14,000 seats over the next 6 months. In a bid to keep things as fair as possible, Heston and his team have organised a ticket ballot with names being drawn at random. And for a lucky few, it's Heston himself who will give them the good news. Or at least that's the plan.
1, 4, 2.
You've called JA. I can't get to the phone at the moment.
Please leave a short 10-second message and it will be sent as a text message.
Hi, if you could call me, it's Heston Blumenthal. My number is 0403...
Thank you. We will convert your message and send it as an SMS.
Hello?
Hi, is that Jason? I'm just calling to say that you've managed to get a table at the Duck. So thank you very much for...
Are they transferable at all? Because my girlfriend also got in with her application.
Oh my gosh, that's utterly incredible. Thank you so much.
Oh, so you've got 2 tables, but is that 2 tables and you only want 1?
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Oh, thank you. When's it for?
Flipping out.
After a 22-hour flight, the Fat Duck staff have landed in Melbourne. Crown Casino Complex will be their new home for the next 6 months. For many, it's their first taste of Australia, and to welcome them is hostess with the mostess, Lauren.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome. Welcome to Crown. Come through and have a seat.
Training coordinator and expert in perky Melburnian hospitality.
Over this side, are you all big coffee drinkers? Great. So when coffee time comes, can I put in a bulk order now for lattes, cappuccinos? Good. We love our coffee. That's good. Look, initially, I didn't know a whole lot about the Fat Duck project. I certainly knew it was one of Heston's restaurants, and I followed a bit of his work over the years. Watching all this stuff he does, with amazing stuff with food and animals, and he's amazing.
Crown is Australia's largest entertainment complex, and they welcome 68,000 guests a day. Space isn't an issue.
I always describe Crown as being 2.5 city blocks. It is very big, but just keep in mind that that's the type of operation you're joining. 9,000 employees, big shopping complexes, big hotels, big gaming facilities, big restaurants and bars. So
similar to Bray?
No, I mean this is bigger than Bray. Generally speaking, there's more people work here than live in Bray.
Just while you can see, we're on an air bridge now. Basically, Crown is connected by air bridges, underground walkways and passes, so you don't ever have to go outside. But you can sort of see now Crown's size. That's Crown Metropole Hotel there. We own everything that's underneath us, running right through. So the restaurants and bars basically right along down the riverside, which we'll slowly pass through. Events and entertainment over there, and a lot of the retailers underneath us. Crown Towers, which is the big circular building there, that is where the Fat Duck is located.
The Australian Fat Duck is almost complete, but there's still a few things to nail down. Banquettes swathed in the finest Italian leather, bespoke wooden floors costing thousands of dollars, mood lighting crafted by Australia's top designers. It's the creme de la creme of interiors. But plushy decor is just the beginning. For Heston, a world-class restaurant needs a character all of its own. A belief born out of a formative childhood experience.
I grew up in a really dodgy period of British food in the 70s. I went to this 3 Michelin-star restaurant in France, never having even seen what an oyster looked like.
I didn't know enough about food to know how good it tasted. But I did know that I'd never seen a bloke with a moustache that went like that with a metal cup around his head and a big leather apron. I did know I'd never seen a cheese trolley the size of this table. I knew I'd never seen people pouring sauces into soufflés or carving later down at the table. Maybe the first time I recognised crickets. Gravel crunching under the feet of the waiting staff, this rock lit up at night, chink of glasses. It was a proper wonderland.
Inspired by this, Heston created his very own down the rabbit hole experience within an eccentric 500-year-old building in Bray. Now he wants to inject the same magic into Melbourne, and he's commissioned leading British designer Richard Seymour to realise his dreams.
Having Heston Blumenthal as our client, if I can call it that, is a remarkable thing. He's the best in the world at what he does. And there is sheer joy involved in that. And there is jeopardy involved in that, because it means nothing can just be what it is. Everything has to be meddled with, filtered, messed about with, last minute altered. And in a way, that's a metaphor of Heston all over. Good enough just is not good enough. You don't get to brilliance just by doing it like everybody else does. Anybody that works with this guy that has any less of an approach than that is going to fail.
Richard has devised a grand plan for 2 bespoke-built pieces of art. A giant gold pocket watch and a 19,560-piece jigsaw. The watch is being masterminded by British inventor Rob Higgs. It will be a fully working 150-kilo and 1-metre wide clock in the style of Alice in Wonderland's Mad Hatter. Rather than telling the time, it will count down the days that the fat duck is resident in Australia. The jigsaw has been painted by artist Paul Slater, an illustrator from London with a keen eye for British eccentricity and a flair for capturing the absurd.
There's something Monty Pythonish about it, and very English too, I like that. It's in the tradition of English nonsense.
A picture that paints 1,000 words and charts the move down under. Sliced into 19,560 pieces for Australian diners to place in position. If life imitates art, this vast and complex jigsaw is the perfect metaphor for Heston's personal journey. On a year-long mission to reinvent his restaurant world, he's hoping the bold move to Melbourne will spark the inspiration he needs to evolve the fat duck experience.
I feel I've got bits of the most incredible jigsaw puzzle. Amazing jigsaw puzzle. And it's not there yet. And it's frustrating and it's stressful because I need to get clarity before we open.
If the jigsaw of Heston's mind doesn't start forming, the fat duck could fall to pieces. Whilst Heston wrestles with his grand plan, in Melbourne, the current fat duck kitchen has landed. All 7 tons of it.
I didn't realise it was going to be quite this much. Yeah, it's incredible amount of stuff.
There's a 17-page long list, and Ash is directing operations.
It did not look like we had that amount of things when we left Bray. It's like moving the biggest house in the world, and then we're going to have to do it on the way back as well.
Within the shipment are several pieces of specialist gear, the big boys of kitchen equipment.
This is the rocket. You probably can get them in Australia, but there aren't many around. This is about £30,000, so it'd be about, by the time it's over here, probably about $70,000, $80,000, I think.
The rocket weighs in at 150 kilos. It's a centrifugal evaporator, and it's used to intensify flavour in 6 of their dishes.
So they've got the most expensive machine on the worst trolley I've ever seen in my life.
Next up, another crucial contraption with a curious name.
Next one, Pat, is this one. Yeah. There's a polar bear in there.
That's a real one or what?
Yeah, real polar bear. It's the one from Bray.
Somebody told me there was a polar bear in the packaging, and I'm trying to think, is this real or unreal? I have no idea what they're talking about with a polar bear, but I will find out.
The polar bear tips the scales at 170 kilos. It's worth $20,000 and it's a champion in precision heating and cooling.
Why did you ship so much stuff out?
Well, the thing is, for the fat duck, you have to have this equipment.
This specialist kit allows Heston and his team to create the most boundary-breaking dishes on the planet. One of which is the curiously named dessert, Botrytis cinerea.
During my 20s, I worked in a vineyard learning the art of winemaking. And ever since then, I wanted to champion the humble grape on my menu. This dessert is based on a type of mold that attacks the grapes, turning them beautifully honeyed and sweet. Using a technique that I created called flavour pairing, I was able to combine other foods that contained the same flavour compounds as these mouldy honeyed grapes. Amongst them is peach, fenugreek, citrus, honey and orange flower blossom, and all contained within sorbets, jellies, biscuits, ice creams and meringues, and they sit atop a blue cheese soil. Now I don't think that rot has ever tasted so good.
It's a big day for Heston. He's visiting the completed restaurant for the very first time. It's the climax to months of planning.
That's the first telltale sign.
It's taken an entire year to build, and it's cost tens of millions of dollars.
There it is. There it is. Huh. It's a funny name, isn't it? This is down the rabbit hole. That's the fat duck door. So this is forced perspective. When you get up here, you realise that it's only that big. And here we are.
When full, the restaurant will seat 50 people. Creating the right atmosphere has been crucial.
I would like everybody that came into the duck to come in like this. Just being excited. An overriding sense of fun is the most important thing. It's about this time of the day I like to stroke one of my new chairs.
No expense has been spared. Even the custom-built seats are swathed in the finest French velvet.
Yeah, they're comfortable. Yeah, nice. I'd like to think it doesn't take itself too seriously. Yeah, in terms of the cooking, the techniques and everything, the work that goes into it, yeah, we're very, very serious about it, but we have fun doing it.
The restaurant will play a few tricks on its guests. Heston's in on it.
I like this, the tablecloth that's not a tablecloth. Ah, see? Bray Melbourne clock, time in Bray, time in Melbourne, and it's really taken inspiration from the Mad Hatter. Every minute is not a minute, it's a day. And when it closes, the Melbourne version of that clock shuts down. And then we'll take it back to Bray. The kitchen's fantastic. It's been designed down to the millimetre. It's very funny considering where I've come from. One of it is 1995, reconditioned pub oven, £400. 6 gas burners, only 4 of them work, domestic gas pressure. An oven that with no pilot light that blew up in my face. Burnt all my scalp, removed all my hair. Yeah. Tell you, when I was a lad,
Oh my god. I'm gonna cry now. Oh my goodness.
After months of anticipation, the waiting staff also get a first glimpse at their new home.
Unbelievable.
That's incredible.
Oh, Madonna.
Wow, overwhelmed. You start to think, you imagine how the restaurant could be, and then you get bits and pieces given to you, but until you see it, then you cannot imagine. It's beautiful. It's amazing.
I mean, for us to walk here, knowing the concept, it's pretty amazing. Imagine for the guests. It's going to be unbelievable. Amazing. I want to come and eat.
Usually I'd refrain from making any grand statements, but I think we shouldn't be humble about it. This is probably the best restaurant in the country and probably one of the best rooms in the world at the moment.
The team take a relaxed moment to settle in. It's the calm before the storm. Not so for Heston. The demand for fat duck tickets has spiralled out of control.
Ticket scalpers targeting Heston Blumenthal's Fat Duck restaurant in Melbourne have left more than 250,000 would-be diners disappointed.
Whilst providing a fair way for diners to get tickets, the online ballot has also given hackers the chance to scalp hundreds of the prized seats for themselves. The local papers have got hold of the story, and Heston is in the firing line.
A lot of people do find $525 for a meal incredibly opulent. Those who obtained the tables really have polarised public opinion, but proof will be in the pudding when they open.
For Heston, it's unwanted attention at such a crucial time.
You're always going to get ticket touts outside, and that's basically what's happened here. I think all it does, though, all of this just adds to the pressure. This can go two ways. The build-up, if you get it right, people can go, wow, fantastic. You get it wrong, then big trouble. Big trouble.
The Fat Duck restaurant, its staff and 7 tonnes of equipment have travelled 10,000 miles to Melbourne. In just a few weeks, the team will be expected to serve the finest of fine dining to guests forking out more than $500 a head.
Ian, do you have the flags there?
The Fat Duck waiting staff are renowned for the highest levels of service. Every dish tells a story, and they're required to deliver each fairy tale course with charm and elegance. Their performance is crucial to a guest's dining experience.
Service is more important than food, which is a bit of a shock to a chef, but it is. Kitchens say they cock up as overcooked piece of fish or something's not hot enough, or something else happens from the kitchen, and the front of house can turn that into something better than if there was not a problem in the first place, the way they handle it.
Ahead of the big opening, a number of new staff have been hired. Local girl Jo is one of only 5 Australians to join.
First days are pretty nerve-wracking in general, I'd have to say. I think the most challenging thing about starting work here is probably going to be the knowledge involved. I mean, I know a little bit about their menu. I've got the Fat Duck cookbook, and I know that everything's very scientific, it's very detailed, and I know there are a lot of dishes, so I'm sure the level of knowledge expected of me will be really high. So I'm excited about studying again, but yeah, a little bit nervous about trying to remember it all.
The new team have only 3 weeks to learn some of the most exacting serving standards in the world, which means tough love from restaurant manager Dimitri.
This is business now. There's a lot of work to be done. There's training, there's food, there's wine, there's service, there's setting up, there's tea, there's coffee, there's fucking shitloads of stuff to happen. We just need to switch on from now on. We need to be super ready. People paying a lot of money to come in here to experience what we do in the UK. And there's people around here that haven't experienced what we do it. So we need to show them now. Discipline is very important in the restaurant. From when the door opens, there won't be any time for mistakes. There's a set of basic things that they need to understand. What we have ahead of us is a fairly important and big project. And we all need to make sure we see it very seriously.
Attention to detail is what sets the Fat Duck apart. The angle of the cutlery, the position of every light, everything is calculated with absolute accuracy, which means little mistakes are a big problem.
This is a fucking nightmare.
The handmade tablecloths have arrived from England, each costing more than $300 per silken sheet.
They're the wrong size. I'm looking at the sizes that we've asked for, and it's very, very clear. 13 by 13, 15 by 15, 18 by 18. I've got 16.2 by 16.8, so it's not even square. And then the next one is 37 centimetres too long on each edge. And then the biggest one is 42 and 45 centimetres long. So that's not square either. And you can see it's draping on the floor. Fucking, I'm pretty angry.
Whilst Ash crunches numbers, the new front of house have entered Fat Duck Boot Camp. Liquid nitrogen, citrus fruit and a candle. It's not your average training day.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon. I'd like to make you a little aperitif so officially start your tasting. I'm going to make a bowl.
Head waitress Eva demonstrates.
It will look like a meringue, hard on the outside but soft in the middle.
The group are learning how to serve nitro-poached aperitifs.
And then just very gently pick it up with your fingers and have it in one piece.
It's cooked right in front of the guest, and there's only one chance to get it right.
Yeah, it's valuable.
A nitro-poached aperitif is the very first thing a guest will eat, and the idea came from Heston's memories of toothpaste.
I never liked brushing my teeth before eating because the taste lingered in my mouth and interfered with food. So I wanted to create a mouth-watering opening bite that would cleanse the palate and whet the appetite. It had to melt in the mouth, be as light as air and fat-free, and just like a classic aperitif, be a little boozy. An egg white base is infused with green tea, lime and vodka, amongst other things. This is piped into a ball from a pressurized siphon and immediately dropped into a bowl of bubbling liquid nitrogen for a few seconds. The result is a meringue with a crisp exterior and creamy center, ready to be eaten in one bite and whet the appetite for what's to follow.
New girl Jo is first up.
Oh, wow, okay. Up.
Okay.
Straighten up. Your back.
My back. Okay.
The perfect technique requires dexterity and the ability to hold your
It's not a
nerve.
race. It's not a race.
Okay.
It's racing. It's not a race.
I just thought it was going to collapse by then.
No.
Okay.
Go.
Other fat duck newcomer Leanne is also poised for action.
It is quite technical. It seems very straightforward, but then there's so many room where it can go completely wrong in either direction. So you don't want to overcook it because then as soon as the guest puts it onto their tongue, it's going to burn it and it's going to affect the rest of their tasting menu effectively.
One wrong move and the plushy new carpet's in the firing line.
I was doing it, and I was doing it quite close to my face, and all I remember was, yeah, it's coming, and then I put a bit more pressure, and then everything went white.
Soon they'll be expected to serve this dish to paying guests. At over $500 a head, mistakes aren't an option.
The shape is because of how you piped it, let's say.
Okay.
Serving the fat duck dishes is one thing, creating them is another, and head chef Johnny is facing an uphill struggle.
This is all the kind of major components of each dish that we've got the product for, we've got the ingredients for in, that we can have a first shot at.
Australian import law means using tried and tested British ingredients is out.
I get it though, but it needs to be stronger, no?
Instead, they've got to work with all new and unfamiliar Australian produce.
We need to figure out a way to get that in there.
It sounds easy, what we're doing, in a way, like when we say, our goal is to recreate the menu that we do in Bray, in Melbourne. I think in some ways it's actually more difficult because you're trying to fit ingredients that you don't normally use into your recipes that you've, developed, specifically around ingredients that you find in England.
The most problematic ingredient is for their most talked about dish, snail porridge. They need 64,000 snails for their 6-month stay, and currently they have none.
Next to the bacon and egg ice cream, that's probably one of the dishes they read the most about. So I think they're going to be expecting that, and if we don't have it, then they're going to be disappointed.
Whilst they await the arrival of the humble mollusk, there's other problems with the base of the dish.
No. The snail butter is really nice, the granola's not right.
A bit more Brits, right?
That granola's not right. You're biting into it and it's like falling apart and it's like dusty inside.
I think sometimes when you play with things,
If at first you don't succeed, Johnny and his team will try again. Whilst tasting continues, Heston's busy drumming up business.
Driving you home, it's the Dan and Maz show. When we mentioned Dan the Booth, our next guest was going to be joining us. He got a little excited. You love our guest.
I do.
Don't
I
you?
love him. I love him. It's Heston Blumenthal. G'day, Heston.
Welcome.
I can't believe that you're opening a restaurant here in Australia. It's like my dream come true.
I know. Well, I don't know it's your dream come true, but I know I'm opening a restaurant in Australia.
Okay, good. As long as you know that. You're aware.
Heston is being pulled in many different directions. Publicity calls, the impending Melbourne opening, and the evolution of the English fat duck. His life is more spinning plates than serving them.
I always put myself in the cack. I pull myself out of my comfort zone, jump into something, and then go, right, I've now got to up to here. I've now got to swim. I've always done that. Challenge, 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 and that's how you learn.
But pushing boundaries and masterminding a new chapter in the fat duck's life doesn't come easy.
It takes a lot of motivation to challenge yourself daily. However, if you choose a project or something to do and you've committed to it, you're then committed to it.
It's now 1 week until opening, and head chef Johnny's facing some unexpected delays. His team need to start practicing, but for now, they're stuck in the basement.
Yeah, I mean, we're working around a public holiday, which isn't great. So, I mean, I see a big list of things that need to be fixed quite desperately. Like actual equipment that's not hooked up, and there's quite a number of water baths that aren't set up. I don't really have heat. I only have heat on part of this pass. I really expected to come in here today and there'd be like 10 guys hammering this out so that we're ready, but there's not. So they're telling me they'll be here tomorrow. They seem pretty relaxed about it. Tuesday lunch. That's when it needs to be done by, so, but ideally a lot earlier.
Out of his control, Johnny must play the waiting game. The transformation of the new recruits continues. Even the existing staff get a spruce up.
Shima?
New uniforms for their new home.
Xenia?
The front of house look is all important, but their role is to be more than just a pretty face.
Being a member of the front of house, people do expect you to understand the food, the quality of the food, the quality of the ingredients, the amount of work that goes into it. I mean, really, we want to make sure that we portray the right message. Somewhere that you will be taken care of, people who are professional, people that are at the top of their game, really.
I love it, actually. Yeah, I think it's classic, very classically British, which is what we're all about.
So our old uniforms, we had like the plain grey waistcoats with white shirts and a grey tie. It was like, it's the same as the boys. So it's nice to have the nice girl uniform.
Especially since it's like 90% girls working in front of house now.
Restaurant manager and, for one day only, front of house stylist.
Thumbs up or thumbs down?
I think it's good, no?
It's fantastic.
Styling complete.
You alright?
Yeah.
Time to slip into something a little more comfortable. But, as ever, for new girl Jo, it's not quite a seamless operation.
I don't know how it's broken already, but I can't get out of it now.
You've broken it?
I didn't. Sorry. Yeah, no, you're right. I think the zip came off its runner and now it's jammed, so we can't move it up or down. And aside from cutting me out of it, I'm not sure how I'm getting it off either.
To complement the Fat Duck's 15-course menu, guests can choose to pair wines with each dish for up to $1,150 a head. Deciding which wines enhance the subtleties of each dish requires an exceptional palate and the expert nose of a master sommelier. Issa is the man for the job. Today, he's auditioning 150 Australian hopefuls, and executive chef Ash has bravely volunteered to help.
It smells like leather, actually.
I was going to say it smells like a bit like a plaster.
To make it onto the list, a wine needs to have the balance of 5 key characteristics: acidity, tannin, body, fruit, and alcohol. Isa's nose is quick to work.
Of the 4 we have tasted here, I think the Estate, Blocky, and the Oatley, they are all good wines.
50 red wines, 40 white. Tastings are an unrelenting symphony of slurp and spit. Ash prefers to swallow, which might explain his fatigue.
This is actually quite hard. Like,
is it?
Yeah. Like I can.
That's right. We've got 30 sparkling wines to do after this.
It's not hard for you guys. Do you know what I mean? For a normal person.
No, it is hard actually. You can feel quite tired at the end of it.
You do get palate fatigue as well.
Absolutely
Yeah,
nailed.
absolutely.
My palate is pretty much done.
Is it?
No, but I'll soldier on.
You have something that's...
Wine tastings can last for several hours. As time ticks on, orientation deteriorates.
Are we in South Australia?
No.
No, we are in Victoria.
Victoria.
Actually.
So where's South Australia?
That is in. So it's west of here.
Right. Okay.
That way.
I think tasting and drinking, they are 2 different activities. When you are tasting, you just have to have a very high level of concentration. But if you are doing it for the first time and facing that many wines, then yes, it will be tiring. And anybody who thinks it's easy, then I challenge them to put themselves through a tasting of that size and we can talk again.
At the Fat Duck, attention to detail is paramount, and Leanne is learning how to lay the table. There's more to it than knife, fork, spoon.
We use this small block here to get the spacing from the edge of the table to the napkin. And then between each napkin, it should be 2 hands kind of span width, so like that. And that should be the start of the next napkin, which will be this one.
A practice run, but nothing escapes head waitress Eva's beady eye.
And if you come here,
Should be in line with
position 1, you see it's like this.
Yeah.
And you can see the label. So if you go here, 1, you unroll it and you put the label in, and then you sort of straighten it up so it levels up. And then once you straighten it up, again straight, so it's straight to the line. Done.
Opening day is on the horizon. There's just 48 hours to go. During a dress rehearsal, new girl Jo must prove she can remain ice cool whilst serving the opening dish.
What's going on? So, in a minute, I will have to go live with real guests, one of which I believe is someone who's very important, the night show, which was famously the incident where I covered half the restaurant in meringue and Campari mix. So, I'm feeling slightly ambivalent.
A table of restaurant management are the dummy diners.
We're going to make some aperitifs for you, since it is close to the beginning of your meal, so we can cleanse your palate for all the food to come. We have 2 very traditional aperitif flavours, gin and tonic, vodka, lime and green tea. And dropping it straight in. So there's lots of eyes on me at the moment. Liquid nitrogen is in 196 degrees below zero, so slightly dangerous, but they're making sure that you are never in any danger at any stage. Please pick it up with your fingers and eat it all in one go without waiting. So what would you like? Oh no.
A solid start, but it's not just the nitrogen that can be hard to handle.
Yeah. We're up to a vodka lime.
Vodka lime? Yeah. Wonderful.
Yeah. What happened? I don't know. At one point I looked down at my hand and I saw there was blood everywhere, and I just thought that might be time to excuse myself. I think it might have been from the peeler, but I didn't even. It just shows how much adrenaline goes through. I didn't even feel it. I just thought like, oh yeah, nothing hurts, nothing. Oh wait, I'm bleeding. Always some kind of incident with me.
With just 2 days to go, having a brand new staff is adding to the pressure of opening day.
Sorry?
Okay.
Okay, can you please put it away?
Yes, of course.
Okay.
Away from their teams, An honest moment between head chef and restaurant manager.
I mean, how do you feel? I'll be honest with you, okay? And I'm not saying I've got this in the bag and I'm cool as a cucumber. Not at fucking all. I'm just fucking nervous, okay? But you look like, I'm not sure. Like you're okay.
No, I'm not okay, but I'm
Okay.
trying to remain calm and collected.
Okay.
I'm just trying to see.
What do you need? What can we do?
You nothing. What I want is these days for them to get a little understanding of how things work. So everyone's doing something different, you know.
Yeah.
To see strengths and weaknesses, you know.
But I think this is what we want to talk about. Now it's got to kind of come together. Now's the time.
But yeah, I'm not going to be happy until you know, the first things.
Tuesday.
You know, people come and start getting into it.
I take my job seriously because obviously it is your work and you need to do it very well on a daily basis.
Have a look if it's there. If it's not there, it's in the back.
I spend a lot of time at work, mostly because I want to. I want to make sure that my team is doing well. I'm here for my team as much as possible. I'm always thinking because I always wanted to improve. I always wanted to become better. So always in the back of my mind is a part of me that keeps on sort of working and never switches off. But, you know, being in control and looking in control is very, very important. And the same for your staff. You want to make sure that when your team sees you, they know that, you know what, whatever happens, he will take care of it.
At last, some good news. In the nick of time, the most elusive of ingredients has arrived. Determined to keep the famous snail porridge on the menu, the team have imported tinned snails from France. In a business that only deals with the finest of ingredients, can the chefs transform a canned product into a 3 Michelin star dish? Paper-thin shavings of fennel, garlic and parsley butter. It falls to Heston to make the call.
Just up the garlic. Snails. Johnny reckon a bit more salt. I mean, I feel salty enough to me, but it could be my...
just on there.
Oh, okay.
Oh, it's got snail in it. They're gone, yeah?
Hello.
There's a novelty.
We need a...
Oh, no, it's fine.
Yeah. I think it's fine.
Don't make it into a ball.
They're good. Just need to push up the garlic butter. That just has been tweaked for here. With the granola in there, more garlic, more butter. Snails now. The snails are now good. It's good. This is good. We'll just continue tweaking. It's a rebirth. Hatch. I take my job, I take my work very seriously. I mean, it's kind of like my life. I open the duck the other side of the world. So this whole kind of, it's really about the ducks almost, it's just a new phase. It's a new stage in the duck's life. I just really hope it works.
Tomorrow, it's showtime. Years in the planning, millions of dollars in the making. Johnny sends forth his troops.
To open tomorrow is pretty exciting for me. It should be for all of you. This has actually been a really, really, really long time to get to here. Okay, an incredible amount of planning, work, but it's going to go by really quick. You know, and before we know it, we'll be moving on to the next thing, most of us, anyway, which is reopening in Bray. That's going to come around so fast. All right, so just really, when you do have a minute, take a look around. And just kind of take it in, because this is a big, big deal, okay? And it's kind of a once-in-a-lifetime thing for all of us, okay? So I just want you to remember it. We'll see you back here tomorrow morning, show them what we got.
Next time, the Fat Duck doors are open for business.
Welcome to the Fat Duck.
But will Australia have an appetite for Heston's most innovative dishes?
Snail?
Porridge.
As the country's most expensive restaurant,
Put it down, please.
will the pressure begin to take its toll?
Now is not the fucking time.
The honeymoon's over. Challenges all round, really.
And with his reputation on the line, will Heston's expensive gamble have paid off?
I'm trying to tell myself it's all going to be okay. Fuck.